Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here with another top 10, this time top 10 ships in Star Wars. Um, Once again, this is one where I was doing a podcast talking about a podcast who brought up this subject and kind of giving my own list, so we're going to cut to that. But as always, enjoy. I love talking about Star Wars ships, and is there any unique ones that you like? Um, let's see if our lists compare. Okay, so War of the Stars, after having that one top 10 list about characters, then they have another pod where they're talking about the best Star Wars ships. And it's not just specifically ships. And once again, this has got my creative juices flowing. So here is my top 10 Star Wars ships. But definitely check out War of the Stars and their top 10 list. Okay, my number 10, the Trade Federation, like their battleships, the big U-shaped ones from the very episode 1. Those to me were just kind of really cool. I liked how they evoked a little bit of the Death Star, but they were a very unique shape, and I really liked that. They got that, and of course I liked the little fighter droids. Those were really cool too. So just kind of that whole scenario of those that was very unique. They were able to give kind of this like unique thing to the Trade Federation, and I was glad that while they had a little homage to the Death Star, like they weren't rip-offs of that. Okay, number 9, the N1 Naboo Starfighter. These things were cool looking. These were like the hot rods of space. And one of the things that I liked about the prequel is this was supposed to be like the Renaissance era of Star Wars. Like, yes, technically like the X-Wing and stuff like that, and the like Tyrant, like those were superior technology of the Empire, but the Empire was working on not only superior technology, but also number game. Like they were, what can we make the most fastest, most dependable like things? But this is more like, it's more about art and stuff. So making it look a little more hot rodish. Really love the M1 Starfighter. Number 8, the Ghost from Rebels. I like my Corellian ships. You're going to see more on here. Just like Dash Rendar ship, but the Ghost, like it just became part of the crew over Rebels. You get so familiar with this. So I really liked that ship. Number 7, a ship that I became extremely emotionally attached to, was the Razor Crest. It went too soon. Why, Dave Filoni? Why, Jon Favreau? Why? Would you do this to me? Why would you blow it up? The Razor Crest had a very much a Firefly feel to it, of the Serenity, and so I really liked that look, and it was just kind of like perfect for Mando. And I like how when Mando lost it, he was like, he didn't want to just get like the next best ship. He wanted another Razor Crest, and I appreciated that he didn't have some version of the Slave One. Like he had his own unique ship that made him unique, and that he really loved it. And the idea of it having like the cold storage for the people in it and stuff like that, that was just really cool idea, and for bounty hunting and stuff. Just a cool ship. Number 6. This one often gets overlooked, but is super iconic. It is the Death Star. Because yes, it's a ship. It travels from planet to planet. So it is a ship. And it is like the ultimate ship. It is the ultimate. It's as big as a small moon. I mean, that's massive to comprehend. And I think of something like that, like, even if we never achieved like the interstellar travel like in sci-fi and stuff, if we could build a ship like that we could survive on through the generations on a ship going to just like the concept of that in any sci-fi, of just like a giant spear ship, always fascinates me. And the Death Star is something that I've always been like super fascinated by. And of course, Star Wars to me is the trench run. So, the Death Star plays a big part in that. Number 5, the Millennium Falcon. As I mentioned earlier, the Corellian ships, these are just so iconic, so memorable. Who doesn't, remember the Millennium Falcon? I haven't had a chance to go to Galaxy's Edge, but even from some of the biggest haters of Disney, Star Wars, and stuff, I have seen videos of them coming to tears when they walk around the corner and see the Millennium Falcon. And, a lot of people say, oh, that's fake. Well, I believe it because that ship is just so iconic. It means so much to everybody. One other thing. So, what do I like better than that? Well, number 4, the Imperial Star Destroyer. I just love these ships. These just they make so much their wedge shape and that, and just the idea of conventional spaceship designs in space. These just, to me, make so much, and they're so iconic. And that initial scene when the one's overtaking, these ships are massive, they're impressive, they're imperial, they're just, love it. Okay, number 3. Continuing on with the imperial love here, I had this one as a toss-up. It's going to go to TIE fighters in general, but I really love the TIE Defender from TIE Fighter versus X-Wing. But, if we're going on screen, it's the TIE Interceptor. That's the cool thing. Of course, Vader's TIE Fighter is cool too, but I actually think the TIE Interceptor looks even cooler with the forks to it. But the TIE Defender, all the way around, that one was the coolest to play as, is the coolest in my mind. But really, in general, I'm giving the slot to just the TIE Fighter in general. Seeing the one land where it folded up the wings, stuff like that. TIE Fighters are they're iconic. They're, yes, they're mass produced and that, but there's just something about that bubble front. Just so good. So good. Love me TIE Fighters. But what's cooler than a TIE Fighter? I may be an Empire guy, but I gotta hand it to you. There is nothing cooler than an X-Wing. X-Wings are just amazing. I like, the Battlestar Galactica, the ships they have in that. I like all that stuff, but you know what? The X-Wing or the R-Wings from Starfleet, but the X-Wing is just so iconic. It's so amazing. The way the wings come out and they go out into the X. And like I said, my favorite part of Star Wars, what Star Wars is to me, is the original A New Hope Star Wars Trench Run. That to me there is Star Wars at its purest moment. And what do you've got? You've got those TIE Fighters. You've got the X-Wings. You've got the Death Star. I talked about R2-D2. That is the moment. And so, the X-Wing is front and center with that. A lot of people who do these lists, they got, you got the Y-Wing, the B-Wing, this, I was trying to make this list, but you cannot have this list without the X-Wing. It is by far one of the coolest ships ever. So why is it not my number 1? Well, that's the Lambent class T-4A shuttle. What is that? That is the shuttle that Vader and the Emperor show up on. And that, to me, that if I could own a spaceship, that is the spaceship I want to own. It's that thing is so cool. Just the way it looks, with the little front is bent down like that, the cargo out the back, the whole way that the wings come and they fold up as it lands and do that. For whatever reason, it's barely in the movie. We don't see it engage in any action or something, but if it's got to be posh inside of the Emperor's riding around in it. But it's got a cargo hold. It can carry and hold stuff. But it's just, it's a beautiful ship. It's the Lexus of starships. It's just, I love it. I love it so much. And it's kind of an odd fascination that ship, out of all the ships in Star Wars, is my favorite, but it is. And it's hardly in the movies, but that is my favorite. So for my secret number 11, I'm going to do the ETA-2 Jedi Starfighter. from Revenge of the Sith, this kind of combined both the X-wing and Tie Fighter elements to kind of create something unique. And I thought that was interesting because remember, this is from this republic, both the rebellion and the empire kind of sprung. So seeing a ship that kind of incorporated both of those together was really interesting to see. Um, I do wonder though, because it made it seem a little cooler, like why they would go down to the TIE fighter if they already had that. But it just was a really unique looking ship. And so it was kind of, but I don't like that movie. And, that battle scene in the beginning was kind of cool. And so, but it just doesn't register that much on my fandom because at that point, I was kind of checking out of Star Wars. That was a period of time when I was checking out of Star Wars, and so I just don't have the nostalgia for that. But that is a cool looking ship, and I will admit that. Okay, that was my list of top 10 Star Wars ships. I clipped this out of a podcast I did where I was doing a roundup of all the Red 5 Network podcasts, and this was a subject that War of the Stars had brought up, so I figured I'd clip it out and show it here as a top 10. But what is your top 10 favorite Star Wars ships? Any unique ones out there? I always like when people come up with a unique off the beaten path. Or do you just want to tell me why it's a travesty that the B-Wing is not on my list? Let me know down in the comments below.